2K15. But the official forums that are advertising 2K16 and your suggestions and feedback are up now. Marcus had tweeted out this morning. If you don't follow him on Twitter, the link is in the description. Make sure to follow him. He is the new community manager. He's the old community manager from THQ back in the day. We've kind of went through a string of community managers where, I like the community managers we had. I don't know. Marcus was always just so near and dear to my heart. That he posted on the forums. Now, I don't use the official 2K or THQ forums. I haven't. I've tried to in the past, and I just wasn't a big fan of them. I've been a part of too many forums in the past that just die, and my love for forums went away. So, but there is a link in the description where you guys can go post your feedback, your comments, your thoughts. Now, I'm going to be straight up honest. I don't know. In a lot of the years we give our feedback, and I know the dev cycles and everything. I don't know if any of this feedback we're going to give is actually going to matter, but if we do it in a way that is constructive, that's not just F you for not putting this in or F you for doing this, and we have an actual legitimate voice like, hey, this is what you did this year. I'd love to see this next year. Like reasonable ideas, solutions, like, hey, the AI, like the stuff I've read so far about like the AI, like, hey, during tag team matches, could AI be a little smarter? Or the roster decisions are, WWE's decisions, so I don't necessarily think about those stuff too much, but little gameplay additions, little things like bringing back some of the modes, instead of just being like, yo, bring back the modes, guys, and like just bitch them out and complain. Just tell them why you think those modes should be brought back. Give constructive feedback that actually matters, and hopefully they'll listen to, because I'll be honest with you, when Tony and I joked about being the community manager after Marcus left the first time, and I think it was Aubrey Sitterson that took over, which I like Aubrey. I didn't have a problem with Aubrey. Totally unfollowed me from Twitter. But I think that as far as being community manager, Tony and I joked about being one, but I don't think I'd want to put up with that, because you're never going to make everybody happy, especially when you're the guy that's there to, kind of corral in ideas and the people and, have to deal with that. So I think you have to keep this in perspective as far as the ideas go, that the community managers, the people that you're reaching out to, they're trying to help. Now, there are some games where the community manager is just there for PR, and I'm not going to name those games. It's not THQ or WWE. There's a couple other games where the community managers are just there specifically for PR, just to respond to the some of the feedback. But for the most part, I think when it comes to giving feedback, if I'm a developer and I'm constantly getting told like this is shit, this is shit, this is shit, without getting told why, I keep hearing like this not being in the game is shit. Well, tell me why it's not. Like, hey, you have 25 cost slots this year. In the past, there was more cost slots that allowed me to do it. This year, I'm trying to have a federation or something. I'm trying to use your game, and unfortunately, the 25 slots limit that. I think it would be great if we could have more slots. I think we have to do it in a way that is a little bit more constructive, and it's more, feedback-based, that actually makes sense. Because I've tried in the past just like, give me this or else, and it doesn't work. So when you guys are posting your feedbacks, your thoughts, and you're going over there, and I encourage you to go find tooth comb over things like things you want in the game, things you personally want. But you also have to remember that this game is being made for a lot of people. Just like WWE programming there's a large variety of people that this game goes out to. I have friends that literally just play it, and they just like messing around in games, and they don't care about the modes. As much as I would love to online to be a bigger part, there's just not that many people play online. And, they've said in the past, like, online is not our big focus. Well, and the main reason it's not really a big focus is because the online's not very good, so nobody wants to play it. And if nobody wants to play it and nobody is playing it, it's easy to say it's not a focus. So, give it specific ideas and suggestions, especially with online. Like, hey, you guys introduced things that when I did the playtest, like, oh, I couldn't take off as a face the turnbuckle pad. I should always be able to take off the turnbuckle pad. And I was like, well, that's kind of stupid, when they told me only certain guys could do it. But what they didn't tell me at the playtest was, oh, there's menus and options where you can go turn all that stuff on, which that sets up for future online feds or online matches where, certain superstars you could turn off, like, this guy can't do all this oh my god moments, or this can't do this. So I think there's a way of doing things that go and show them, like, here's what we want. And I know, like, it's really hard to do that when, you know, we keep giving our feedback and they sometimes don't listen. There's other games that do it all the time. But I'm going to give it a, you know, a wait and see approach and see if these suggestions actually come to pass. I hope specifically if features come in, some of the top voted ones get in, they can actually use it. And hell, I'd be okay with them using it as publicity. Like, hey, we asked you guys in the official 2K forums to give us some ideas and suggestions. Here's what we implemented. See? I don't even care if it's a PR stunt. Just like, see, we listened. This is what we put in the game. Do it. Go for it. 2K, do it. I'd love that. Like, this is what Banhammer43 requested on the game, and this is what got put in. I'd love to see the dev team actually get some of these ideas, because I think the dev team oftentimes focuses, they try to do what's, you know, best for everybody, and obviously they have play numbers that we don't and whatnot. I think, though, that in the past, they've really done away of kind of either ignoring us, or every year it switches from arcadey to more simulation to more this to that, without actually, you know, kind of figuring out what we want, or if we do know what we want, it just kind of comes out in a way that, you know, doesn't really matter. Because, like, I went back and I've played those old games that are more arcadey, the fast-paced games. You know, the dude does the crazy throwing guys off cells that just fall off, or, you know, backstage fighting and all that cool stuff. And then I have a game like 2K15 where it is more simulation-based. And it does provide for some very epically recreated WWE TV matches. And they provide some really awesome moments. But at the same time, I would still like more of an arcade moment. So one of my suggestions is, instead of making a fully new All-Star game, maybe have a mode where, just like, you know, to defeat the streak, where I can, you know, it speeds up the animations, the wait times, instead of having to, you know, just mess with sliders all the time. I can go into this mode where it's more fast-paced, it's more action-y style, versus every year changing the whole pace of the whole game. I think they have to decide whether they want an arcade game or they want a more simulation-based game. If they want a more simulation-based game, add something in, or develop another game like All-Stars that is specifically made for that arcade feeling. Those are some of my feedbacks, my thoughts that I think that they should implement. Other things, obviously, the match types that should never have gotten taken out. And, you know, I was very critical about Match Creator because, you know, I do this for a living. Match Creator is a big, big thing for me. I need Match Creator because, like, that's some of my biggest things that most people know me for are from the stories I play. And, you know, one of the things was, those are the same cutscenes that have been in the game for 6 years. So hopefully with next gen, we get new cutscenes. We get something like that back in. And, you know, one of the things that I've heard some people say is, like, priority number one should be like an ambulance match, or like should be this or that. Specific match types, I think we need Match Creator. That's one of the suggestions I really need to have back. I need to have, you know, if you're going to limit us on the match types that we have, okay, fine, but give us that creator to be able to buff it up a little bit. I've seen some of these comments that are pretty much just flaming, like, how the F could you take out this or add that, or just be like, you know what, you guys took out that mode. This is why I think it's great. It's something that I spend a lot of time doing, and it makes sense. I would love to have that mode back. Boom. We don't need to go F this, F that, don't do this, don't do that. Just give specific examples why it works, why it doesn't work, why you think it deserves to be back in. Maybe ask your friends too. Maybe it's not just your opinion that you're, you know, kind of representing an ideal. So I want to hear your guys' feedback and your thoughts. I want to hear what my community thinks. What does my community want from WWE 2K16? And if you've listened this far, you're a pro, you're probably already over there trolling the boards, but what does my community want? Now, when you think about this stuff, there's a lot of features that I thought would be really cool, but just me thought was cool. There's some features that, you know, they may sound like everybody wants them, but then you bring them up and other people don't want them. So I want to compile for me personally a list that my community wants, my subscribers thinks would be good for the game. So leave your constructive feedback down below in my comment section, and then I will go through, and then when I make my official post, it'll include, you know, posts from the community of what my community wants and why they think these features are important. Okay, you guys stripped out a lot of match creator types. Okay, you know, I understand it's a new game. You guys went to focus on graphics. You know, if you aren't able to add back in all the match types that you guys took out, hey, could you give us match creator so we, you know, we could tweak it a little bit? So we could have like a falls count anywhere, something or other, you know? Those little things that really kind of separate things out. Now, as far as rosters go, I know that's WWE. from this experience going on years and hearing them talk, and you know, the dev team is kind of in a position where, like, you know, they make the decisions and then they constantly get crap for it. It's like, well, I'm not the one making that call. I'm not the one that's saying this guy can't be in the game. Why the heck is Edge in the game? Or why isn't this legend in the game? So just keep that in mind when you're making some of these posts, that you really bring, like, hey, universe mode. You know, one of the things that I called them out on this year was I asked, what is new in universe mode? And the response I got was from next gen to, like, current gen was, well, there is nothing new. It is, we wanted to keep the modes the same. I'm like, no, that's a cop-out. That is not. You just didn't add anything into universe mode while still taking out all the other modes, but you gave it a new menu. Now, if I just went and called them out like that, like, no, you're lying. You went out there, you did nothing, and then you focused on, you know, something else. Like, okay, you did that. Well, here's what I think you can add into universe mode to make it a little better experience. This is what I would like to see. Or, you know, hey, I really like GM mode, and I don't necessarily want GM mode back, but I think these features from GM mode would be a great addition to universe mode. So I don't think you guys want to be shooting for the stars on a lot of this stuff. Like the GM mode, superstar mode, like I would, as cool as some of those modes would be, you know, if they do only have a year, they need to build on what they do have. So I think, like, you know, some of my favorite things from GM mode were, you know, the ability to not only during the week, not just have matches, but have other things like brand invasions or other things. As a GM or, you know, part of universe mode, you could add in those things. You could add in the ability to boost somebody's popularity artificially. You could do that instead of just having matches and not understanding how you get the cutscenes. Things like that. I think that would be a good addition to universe mode, but that's not just, we want GM mode because it's the past. Give us the past. Because we do live too much in the same attitude era trap that, you know, the WWE games are. Like, we keep the old games were the best, just give us that. Well, that may not work back in the day, just like the attitude era. That may not work in today's product. So leave legitimate feedback, and I will try to compile it in a way that, you know, and I don't mean to sound mean, but I read my own comments where people flame in, and I just know that how that comes across to a community manager, how that comes across to, you know, a company, and sitting in and talking to these devs, I feel now that I've got a pretty good understanding of how to communicate and hopefully get some of these ideas in. So let me know what you guys would like to see. Give me examples of why you want it in. I will compile a list myself. I will try to use it if I have any pull at all, at least to talk about some of these things straight to the devs and do it in a more constructive way that they don't feel like we're just shitting on their product. So let me know in the comment section below. Go post in the forums. Go let them know what you want personally. And like I said, I will try to compile a list and see if hopefully WWE 2K16 can be a good game with viewer feedback and, you know, things that we want as the WWE Games community in it, and also having features that just the casual fan wants and that can appease both people. So until next time, guys, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully some of these things get added. If not, there's always other games. Until next time, guys, peace out.